Perfect. Alrighty. So again, thank you for joining us today um, to our Masters in Business Administration information session. We'll talk a lot about our program, but I want to make sure we address some of our distinctions in the program. We're really proud to have one of the best programs around the area for a very affordable price. I'd like to note that our program is fully AACSB accredited, which is an accreditation that only 5% of schools in the entire nation have. So that in itself hopefully gives you just an idea of um, the quality program that we have here at Cal State San Bernardino. We do have different, accolades. Our MBA online program is one of the top 50 online MBA programs according to Princeton Review. And that was actually renewed also this year. So for 2024, we made the top 50 online MBA programs, and then the best business schools, one of the best the top business schools. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of our students decide to pursue our program because of the accreditation and the quality program. But not only that, our program is very flexible. We work with students who, for the most part, might be working full-time or have other responsibilities that they have to juggle while doing the program. So for that reason, we offer evening, weekend, or fully online course options. And like I mentioned, we have one of the most affordable MBA programs in our region. So not only is it fully accredited by AACSB compared to other programs with a similar accreditation. We'll talk a little bit more about the cost, but our cost is significantly more affordable while still, having that great program. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the opportunities you'll have. But just to name a few, we have study abroad opportunities, graduate assistantships, and in addition, we have a designated student advisor for our MBA students. So the student advisor who you'd be introduced to once you're admitted into our program would help with the planning of the classes. This is pretty common at the undergraduate level, but the graduate level, very few students have a designated student advisor. So we're really proud to have those resources so that our students never feel lost in the program. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about the admissions requirements. So part of the university admissions requirements to our graduate programs is that you have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution and that your cumulative GPA is at least a 3.0 or higher. That's what we're looking for. Now, we can go down to a 2.5 GPA if needed. And we can review your cumulative GPA or your last 60 units, whatever's higher. If we're going down to a 2.5, we'll consider other items in your application, such as your work experience. But again, we'll take a look at your application in a holistic manner to make that determination. And then as part of your application, the documents we'll be asking for is that you submit 1 or 2 letters of recommendation from a professional recommender. So that can be a professor, employer, coworker, someone who's seen your work in the past. And you submit that directly through the application portal, meaning you'll be asked to provide their contact information and we'll send them an electronic notification that you're requesting that recommendation. If you already have the letter of recommendation saved as a document, then you can upload it, but then you'll still be asked to provide their contact information. We'll ask you for your most recent resume, and we're looking for a detailed resume, more like a CV, where you are highlighting any professional experience, leadership experience that you might have, because we're going to, again, that's one of the biggest weighing factors, especially if we're weighing off your GPA. We want to make sure that you also are complementing that with experience. And a statement of purpose, which is, I typically tell students about 200 to 250 words, maybe about a page long, of the reasons why you're pursuing the MBA program here at Cal State San Bernardino. and what you're hoping to utilize your degree for. And then once you've submitted your application, we'll ask you to schedule an application interview. Again, just to get to know you a little bit more and make sure that you're good for the program. Now, in addition to that, we have the business aptitude requirement, and this can be met different ways. So one of the ways to meet the business aptitude is by if you have a 3.2 GPA from an AACSB accredited business program. So for example, if you completed your degree, business degree from Cal State San Bernardino that is AACSB accredited, and your GPA was, you had a strong GPA, you can meet the business aptitude that way. If you already have another accredited graduate level degree, like a master's or a doctorate degree, you can meet it that way. If you have at least 2 years of professional or leadership experience, that's why it's so important that you be detailed in your resume, because we'll look at your resume to determine if you meet that professional experience. Now, if you don't have any of those, then we might ask for you to submit GRE or GMAT test scores, I'm sorry. And if you're not familiar with the GMAT or GRE, they're entrance exams that different graduate schools can use to gauge your performance in a graduate program. So again, it's just to make sure that you'll do well in our program. So if you're pursuing our traditional MBA program, those are the ways to meet the business aptitude. Now, if you're pursuing our executives MBA specifically, you have to meet it with 2 years of leadership experience. Okay, so even if you're doing it fully online or on campus, the executives MBA requires that you have at least 2 years of experience overseeing other staff or overseeing a facility, overseeing important projects. So we're looking for very specific leadership experience, even if you didn't necessarily have a manager title. We do require that you have that experience. So again, this is only for the executives MBA because it's we'll talk about the curriculum in a little bit, but it's a shorter program, so it's expected that you're already coming in with a lot of business knowledge. Before I go on to the next slide, does anyone have any questions about the admissions requirements? I don't see any, so I'll go on to the next slide. So this just narrows down the options you'll have in terms of the different MBA's degree that we have. So we have 3 different options. Your degree for all three would say MBA. It's just the concentration or the modality that you're pursuing your program in. One of the options is our traditional MBA, which is for students of all types of experience. You don't necessarily have to have leadership experience. This program offers concentrations, which we'll discuss a little bit more. So you'd be getting an MBA with a concentration in a specific field. This program is roughly about 36 to 42 units, depending on the concentration that you're selecting. So 12 to 14 courses. And this program does require on-campus classes. So even though there are some fully online options, you do have to come to campus at some point, typically 1 or 2 times a week. And those classes are in the evening. If they are on campus, they're after 5:30 p.m. or sometimes on Saturdays. Okay. We also have the executives MBA option, which again, this is for students who already have a lot of leadership experience. And we have that program on campus or fully online. The on-camp, they're both 30 units, 10 courses. And the difference would be that the on-campus one would require for you to come in to campus at some point, at least once a semester typically. Whereas the fully online, you can do that fully remotely. I'm going to give Maggie just some time to talk a little bit more about the online executives option and what the differences are, and see if you have any questions. Feel free to ask away. Go ahead, Maggie.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Again, I'm Maggie. I'm the student advisor for the online executive modality of the MBA program here at CSUSB. I just wanted to get a pulse. Is anyone interested in this program at all? Is this an option for you guys? If it is, I am going to be putting my contact information on the chat. I'm essentially the best person that you could reach as far as getting assistance with the application process. One of the biggest things with deciding on doing the online MBA program is the 2-year leadership experience. So if you feel that that's something that you have under your belt, the online modality works best. The classes are fully asynchronous. So if you're a working professional, it's definitely something that could be accommodated to your working lifestyle. So what's recommended if you do decide to do the online version is send us your resume. I'll be sending over the MBA email as well in the chat. So send it over to me. We get that reviewed by Jessica. She reviews the resume. Once you get the green light, then you are eligible to apply through CSU Apply, and then you start the application process. Me and Jessica in the MBA department, we work as a team. So if this is definitely something that is sparking your interest, something you want to do, reach out to me for any questions. I'm also available through advising appointments. So we can have a one-on-one via phone. We can also be via Zoom. So whatever is accommodating to you. Just specifics as far as the program goes, it's exactly the same curriculum, courses. The only difference as far as the online modality is that, again, it's online and it's asynchronous. You don't have any scheduled lectures that you have to attend. 10 courses, 30 units. And one of the biggest things also is Jessica's going to go over the tuition. So if that's something that you want to consider as well, she'll touch base on that. Again, I'll be more than happy to help you guys with any questions. I'll be putting all of my contact information in the chat, as well as the link for you to schedule any appointments. But I look forward to working with you guys, and congratulations on taking this big next step to potentially getting your MBA.
Thank you so much, Maggie. She'll be putting in her contact information in case you are interested in the fully online MBA for executives. And you can ask any questions specifically, and then I'll provide you my contact information at the end as well in case you have any additional questions on the traditional MBA or executives MBA that are offered on campus. All right, so like I mentioned, if you decide to pursue our traditional MBA, that has the option for you to select a concentration. And here on the screen, you'll see the different options. We have accounting, internal auditing, cybersecurity. That one's 14 classes because it's STEM designated. We have an entrepreneurship concentration, finance, HR management, hospitality management. Interdisciplinary is if you don't necessarily know what to choose, you can choose from different concentrations. We have the management, we have the marketing management, and then also global supply chain management. Now, if you're interested in doing dual concentrations, you can also do that. Of course, it's going to take a couple more classes to be able to get two concentrations, but it is an option. And then also, let's say you start with one concentration, but then shortly after you start, you realize you want to change it, you'll have that option as well. So again, I just wanted to point out some of the concentrations that we have available. At the time of the application, it will ask for you to select your concentrations. So just be mindful that when you're looking it up on Cal State Apply, you'll have to select your specific concentration, or if you're looking for the MBA for executives or the MBA for executives online, there's different applications for each one. So make sure you're selecting the right one when you're starting your application. Now, let's talk about the cost breakdown, which is, of course, something we always get asked about. So for our traditional program, this is an estimate based on you taking 3 classes per semester. Now, 3 classes is what we consider full-time for a graduate student. You are able to take less if you need to. Of course, it would take you a little longer, so you'd be paying a little bit more because it'll take you more semesters to graduate. But on average, our California residents pay between 37 to 43,000 for the entire program. Okay, and I'm talking about tuition and fees. Now, if you're a non-resident or an international student, you're looking at roughly between 52 to 61,000. Okay. Our executives program, it's less classes, less units. So typically it's you complete it quicker. If you're taking 3 classes per semester and you're doing it on campus, it's going to cost you roughly about 30,000 for your tuition and fees. And for non-residents or international students, about 42,000. Now, keep in mind that for the on-campus classes, we give you a range, and also that can vary if you're taking less classes per semester, because again, the longer it takes you to complete the program, you might be paying more tuition. The fully online program, that's a set cost because you're not getting charged per semester, you're getting charged per class. So that's a set fee of 33,000 for the tuition, the tuition and associated fees. So I'm sure if you're comparing that to other schools with the same accreditation, you'll see that it's very fairly priced. And we're proud to be able to offer the program again at a really good price. Any questions on any of these items? Okay, Angela, I think you raised your hand. Okay, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. For the online classes, for the 10 classes, what's the timeline that it has to be done in?
It doesn't have to be, as long as you finish the program, and this applies to everything, as long as it's completed by 7 years.
7, okay.
Yeah, because after 7 years, the course is
Okay.
On average, most students finish the program within 2 to 2.5 years for the most part, if you're taking classes consecutively. Of course, if you're taking breaks in between, but just so you can kind of get an idea. And especially for the online program, regardless of how long it takes you, the cost is going to be the same because you're paying per unit, not per semester.
Right, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And then with that, I know some of our students ask about financial aid. As you might already know, as a graduate student, sometimes free money is not as common, but if you're pursuing the MBA program and you're interested in financial aid, we encourage you to first complete a FAFSA application as a graduate student so that you can be considered for different financial aid. If you're taking some of our on-campus program, some grants might be available, such as the State University grant or the Graduate Business grant, or you can also pursue graduate assistantships or student loans. Most students, especially, for example, our fully online students, will qualify for student loans at the very least to help fund for your degree upfront, and then of course it's money that will have to be paid back to your lender once you graduate. But I always encourage students, if you're interested in financing your degree, apply for FAFSA first so that we know what you qualify, and from there, again, we can decide what you qualify for. Typically, the loans are enough to pay for your tuition and sometimes a little extra, but we always encourage you to borrow responsibly because that's money that will have to be paid back in the future, right? So I just wanted to kind of point that out. We do have a specialized financial aid office in case you have any questions about what you qualify for financial aid. For students who are applying, for example, for spring 25, you do a 2024-2025 FAFSA application and you add Cal State San Bernardino as your school. And then once you're admitted, that's when we would get access to your financial aid application. And then some of the events that we have as part of our program is we'll have a new student orientation for all our admitted students. This takes place in the beginning of the semester. So for example, the week before you're scheduled to start classes, or we'll go more into detail about how the program is conducted and how registration works. We have a designated academic advisor, like I mentioned previously, who you'll be introduced to once you're admitted into the program. And he'll help you with the class selections and guide you a little bit better as to what your program needs so that you're taking the correct classes. We have the Passport Leadership Program as well, in which we'll offer different events throughout the year, both on campus or sometimes fully online. And those events, if you wish to participate in the Passport Leadership Program, if you attend a minimum number of events, then kind of like a passport, you'd be collecting stamps, and then you'll get recognition at the end of the school year for satisfying a minimum number of events that you attended. And then we also have the Student Ambassadors Program, where we select just a handful of students to represent our MBA program. And what that would look like is once our student ambassadors are selected, they go with us, the staff, to represent the student body of the MBA program. So that might look like talking, for example, to prospective students about what the program is like, or bringing up any any issues or concerns that the student body's having. So again, just being like a representative of the student body in the MBA program. After your first semester, if you're interested in being part of the Student Ambassadors Program, you'll get an invitation. In return for being a student ambassador, you can actually get professional development funds that we would help fund. Again, just to help you develop professionally as well. And then some of the other student services that we have to make sure that you're successful in the program, just to name a few, we have a student with disabilities office in case you need any accommodations in your classes. We have a recreation and wellness center, so a gym that's really close actually to the Jack H. Business building. We have counseling services, Veteran Success Center, if you're a military student who is looking to utilize your military benefits. We have a career center that will host different types of events, such as like career fairs, internship fairs throughout the year, typically at least one each semester. Different sporting events. We have a study abroad program in which you can select the option of studying abroad as one of your courses towards your degree. And then we have Overshaw Den, which is a center here on campus where we provide students who are struggling with basic needs, such as food, shelter, clothing, and just provide them resources. So again, just to name a few, some of the resources in case you're not familiar with our campus, so you can get an idea of the different services that we have. And we encourage you that if you haven't already, to visit our website. It'll have a lot more detailed information on, for example, the admissions requirements that I just went over, the tuition and fees breakdown. If you're once you're admitted, it'll have different forms for course information, department information, appointment scheduling. So if you haven't already, again, like I said, visit, it'll be csusb.edu/MBA. And at the moment, we did close our fall 2024 application for our on-campus term. However, our fully online session is still accepting for session 2. If you're interested in a fully online session, your deadline would be, if I'm not mistaken, Maggie, first week of September.
Yes, so we're accepting session 2, fall 2024. The application deadline is September 4th, so there's definitely still time, about a month, if you wanted to submit your application. Your start date, if you were to start a second session, would be October 1st of this year. If that doesn't work out with you, we actually just, for both on campus and online, opened up our spring 2025 start. So for that application, it's open through CSU Apply. At least for online, the deadline for the first session is November 12th of this year, and your start date would be January 21st of 2025 if you're looking into starting as soon as spring. or we have fall as well. But if you have additional questions as far as deadline goes, contact's in there so we can chat.
Thank you, Maggie. Yes, so if you're interested in fully online, like I said, you might still have a chance to start this year. Now, if you're looking into our traditional program or our executives on campus, then we are currently accepting applications for spring 2025 now. So that would start January 17th. The deadline's January 6th, but we don't encourage for you to wait only because we want to evaluate your application, especially the business aptitude requirement. That's what tends to hold students back sometimes if we're asking for you to submit GRE or GMAT scores and we don't know until the end of the year, you might not have enough time to take it and still be admitted for spring. So for that reason, we always encourage students to, if you already know you're going to be applying to our program, to apply sooner than later. And again, the application for spring is now open. Okay. And then we also want to let you know that we are in social media. If you want to follow us and just review some of our content, sometimes we'll post some of our events. So again, if you're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, please follow us and so you can get more information. And here, you can actually scan this if you have your phone on hand. If you wanted to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me, of course, you're more than welcome to contact me. I'll include my contact information in the chat right now. But if you wanted to schedule one-on-one appointments with me, this is where you'll be able to do so. And that pretty much concludes all the information I wanted to cover. Any questions about any items perhaps I didn't cover that I can help answer?
I have a question regarding the online. If you didn't have a concentration capability, is that something you can just decide to take a few more classes to get a concentration, like in accounting, perhaps?
Yeah. So unfortunately, fully online, we don't have concentrations at all, and it's not something you'd be able to add at the end.
Okay.
So fully online, the only option that we would have is the executives MBA. If you wanted to pursue a concentration, then you'd have to pursue our traditional, which is only offered. There's some online classes, like I mentioned, but you'd have to come to campus.
Do you know what percentage of classes you'd actually have to be on campus for versus be able to take online?
Yeah. So on average, I usually tell students about half of the classes you'll have to come to campus. I think just from what I see with our current students, they come to campus 2 to 3 times a week. And again, that's 5:30 p.m. or later. Depending on the classes you need that particular semester. Sometimes I've seen students that don't have to come in at all on a particular semester if they're able to secure online classes. But I don't want to promise you that that's going to happen every single semester, just from what I see, students usually have to come at least 1 to 3 times a week to campus.
Okay. But you do have night and weekend options for
Correct. Yes.
Is that for all the classes? There's night and
Mm-hmm.
weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Accounting, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the courses that have the fewest online, just so you know. Some of the accounting classes might be offered only in person.
Okay.
And that could be hybrid where it's 1 time a week and then there's a online component. But just wanted to kind of throw that out there because accounting is one of the concentrations that tends to have a little bit more on-campus classes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you don't have any other questions, I just want to thank you for joining me today. Maggie put her contact information in the chat, and so did I. So hopefully we get to see you, apply to our program soon. And if you have questions, please do feel free to reach out.